I've got to admit that when the story first came out about Stockton Rush and the Titan sub thing, I I thought it was, interesting. And then the more I got into it, the more I realized this guy was a maniac. And the more I read and the more people explained, including the horrible, well, maybe not horrible, but this incredible sense of, I don't know what the word is, this compression, death and destruction, this obliteration of the members of this submarine, or submersible. The more I read about him, and the more I hear about him, and the more that's coming out now, this guy was a maniac. He was reckless beyond. The stories don't end. And I don't know how. Remember, they didn't even take down the website. They were planning another trip after. I mean, so no matter, it's like The Godfather, no matter how much I try to leave, it pulls me back in. Well, let me go over the latest ones with you. And again, this is tragic. It's horrible. But yet it's fascinating. And you would think that people, look, it's one thing for you to say, I have a company that, produces or promotes, river rafting or flights or whatever it is. But when I'm on it and I'm in that submersible, in that floating suppository thing, one would think that you would do everything in your power to avoid. Anyway, let's talk about that. But first, let me remind you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you'll be notified of live streams and new videos. And most importantly, right now, listen very carefully to this most critical words from our great sponsor. The US dollar has lost 85% of its value since the 70s, when the dollar decoupled from gold, and the government seems bent on continuing the tradition. From now until after the next elections, the government can print as much money as they want. And the last time they did that, inflation went up 9%. This means one thing: the security of your future and your family's future is all in your hands. Make sure you freeze the value of your wealth that you are holding. Invest in gold with Noble Gold Investments. Gold is the one asset that has proven to withstand recession, inflation, and just about all economic threats. Noble Gold Investments is here to help you. If you want to invest in gold, you will also get a 24-karat, quarter-ounce gold standard coin for free. So go to noblegoldinvestments.com right now. Noblegoldinvestments.com. Tell them Lionel sent you. This is the only gold company I trust. And remember, there's always a risk of investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind. All right, my friends, I frankly never got the whole Stockton Rush thing, never got the Titanic thing. Who wants to go look at the Titanic and this little stinky thing where you look out of a porthole and, okay, there it is. He had more billionaires per square inch than anyone. The whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand. Why would you want to do this? He had different forms, different items, different materials. It should have been one piece of structure, but then when he had the porthole, that was a different structure, a different chemical composite, a different material, and that allows differentials and pressure and who knows. He had a game, basically a toggle switch, a joy switch. Here's the latest one, the Titan CEO Stockton Rush. They're saying had a 1-hour meltdown after he got another sub stuck in the Andrea Doria wreck in 2016. And we're finding more and more about what kind of a jerk this guy was. There was this engineer, David Lockridge, who was eventually fired for raising concerns about the Titan and Ocean Gate. It's just incredible. You're learning more and more and more. There's a huge this cavalcade of anecdotes and stories that are incredible, absolutely incredible. He ignored multiple successive warnings from others in the, I guess, the deep sea community about why his sub or his submersible wasn't safe. Remember, it's not a submarine. Submarine is something that's powered. This was basically this tube that just dropped, and then in order to, this isn't funny, in order to raise up or rise, they lose the sandbags or whatever it is. I'm making it obviously much more simple, and I'm not laughing about this. He refused to subject the Titan to a thermal scan that would have exposed alleged weaknesses and the like in the hull, instead of relying, as they say, on acoustics to signal vulnerabilities. This Vanity Fair piece, which apparently came out recently, exposed the expose details one incident where he watched it implode at 4,000 psi, a pressure equivalent to only 2,700 meters. He claimed it was a success. And then this fellow Lockridge, who was booted for pointing out problems, who had moved from Scotland to Washington State with his family to work for Rush, he was fired for voicing his concerns. And it goes on and on. It's just incredible. Look at this. Among the observations were the hull bore Swiss cheese quote holes. When his verbal warnings were ignored, he put them in writing. Listen to this. He says that verbal communications of the key items I have addressed in my attached document have been dismissed on several occasions. So I now feel I must make this report so there is an official record in place. He was sued. I mean, this guy was sued by Rush and Ocean Gate, trying to compel him to pay his legal. I mean, listen. This, and I'm not one to necessarily assess, diagnoses of mental illness. I mean, I do it, but I don't know. I've never met, obviously not met Rush. But this guy, one would think, would be so monumentally attuned to safety, and the billionaires who did you remember the waivers of liability? They basically said, look, we don't know what we're doing here. So you have to ask, who is crazier, the Stockton Rush or anybody who would spend how much for this? Remember the diet they had to go on? It's basically it's like a pre colonoscopy diet, low digestion. I mean, you're in this cramped. The bathroom was in the front where I don't know what God forbid, who knows? And you're sitting there in the dark, and he's got a joystick from a kid's game, and you're looking at this. You're looking at, yep. There it is. There's the old, there it is. That's it. All right. It's a Titanic. Okay. Can we go up now? Great. We saw it. It's like people who want to go see the Grand Canyon. All due respect, I'm like Chevy Chase and, the the Griswolds. It's like, yep, that's it. That's the Grand Canyon. But to get in this little dark, dingy, just looking at it, when I mean, and you've got billionaires on that one trip, the amount of billions that were transferred just in terms of probate, it blows my mind. And it makes you wonder, how many of these other things out there are available? You know, it's funny. Sometimes we'll be traveling, and the other day I saw one of these little rolling carnivals. You know, these carnivals. They like not a state fair, but they'll go to a parking lot of a mall, and they'll be there for a couple of weeks. You know, fair little wheel, and you never hear anything goes wrong. Nothing goes wrong with these people with one eye and tattoos with words misspelled, ex-cons, and nothing ever happens. Nothing. And in a sense, I feel safer with them than with this guy. It's a bit moot right now, but it makes you wonder, what is the psychology of somebody who goes on these things in the first place? And what is the psychology of somebody who says, I don't care about the safety because I'm whatever? All right, dear friend, have a great and a glorious and a wonderful time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that little bell so you're notified of new videos and the like. And don't forget our wonderful sponsor. And don't forget to patronize them and call them. Tell them Lionel sent you. They're wonderful, wonderful people. And so are you. And now it's time for you to comment as you see fit.